Hello, everybody. My name is Alexander Rivas, here with my co-stars Matthew, Ryan, and Gabriel. You're watching the Nothing But Net and Touchdowns podcast, and today we'll be starting off with our first question of the day, being who will be the face of the league or the NBA? Now, Matthew, you want to start us off?
Yeah, so I think it's very clear who should be the next face of the NBA, and that is the 2023 number one overall pick, Victor Wembanyama. I mean, we've only gotten such a small sample size from him, but I mean, he looks great out there on the floor. Like he's capable of doing so many things, and I think he's gonna be the next guy up. Like he's gonna take over from like LeBron and Steph, who were the face of the league for a while, but now it's like his turn to.
All right, Ryan, you're nodding your head. Do you agree with him?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Matthew here. I also think Wemby is the face of the NBA. Extreme length. He's a good player. He's tall. He does need to add some finishing touches to his gameplay. But I think he's just a really solid player overall. And he had a great season last year, even while being on a minutes restriction. And he really helped the Spurs team from being even worse than they actually were. So I really do think that Wembanyama could be the face of the NBA in the next few years.
Alrighty. Gabriel, you have expressed that you don't consider Wembanyama to be that face of the league. Who do you feel deserves to be the face of the league?
Well, I can definitely see Wemby has the potential, but we just can't guarantee that yet. So right now I got to go with the most projected player, Anthony Edwards. We see what he can do. He was a great player. We saw how he performed in the playoffs overall, and this was just the first season of him like really exploding. Next season, they're gonna know his name. They're gonna be ready for him. So I think he's got the confidence clearly. Wanting to be the face of the Olympic team, wanting to be the face of the NBA, I think he's ready.
All right, well, you heard it here. Now we're going to move on to our next topic about the NFL, the MVP race. Who do you believe will be the MVP this season?
I think it's going to be C.J. Stroud. I mean, he had a phenomenal rookie season. I'm pretty sure he won Rookie of the Year, right?
Yes,
yeah.
He did indeed.
Yeah, so I think this season will be another step forward. I think he's going to be great this year. And like some of the other great quarterbacks in the league, they've already won their MVPs, so the voters are already kind of fatigued with them. But CJ is like pretty new, so I think he has a pretty good shot at MVP this year.
Now, Ryan, what is your feeling on the Ohio State product?
Yeah, look, he's a great player. I do think he's underrated. And you pose the question. C.J. Stroud for MVP is a pretty, out there opinion. But I will have to agree with that. I think he still has something to prove. But he proved a lot last year. A ton of really good passing games. He can run. He's a great player. He's a good player. That Texans team was not very good, but he really carried that over his shoulders. And C.J. Stroud could be the future, too. So I do think he definitely has the quality to be MVP next year.
Alrighty. For the rising star C.J. Stroud, however, Gabriel, how do you feel about this?
I feel like C.J. Stroud definitely has that talent, but again, he's a rookie, and with a team like his, it's going to be hard to stand out from the rest with all that great talent. But I say, I feel like the MVP is going to be Joe Burrow. He's going to be Lamar Jackson, the most recent MVP's toughest challenge. And we see he clearly has good matchups where he has proved that he can beat names like Mahomes and Lamar. So I feel like he still is one of the most dominant quarterbacks in the league, and I think he's going to prove it this season.
All right, and for our last topic of the day, we're going to be taking consideration between the NBA and the NFL on which sport has better officiating. Take it away.
Well, I'd say that it's pretty even, right? I mean, the NBA officials, they tend to miss calls, but so do the NFL officials. But if I had to choose one, I would say that the NBA officiating is better than the NFL, because the NFL officiating, like, sometimes they mess up in like really crucial moments, and I think that just kind of separates the two. Like, NBA officials also make mistakes, but I haven't really seen them make too many bad mistakes come like playoffs or like big moments.
All right, Ryan, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, look, to agree with Matthew, I also believe that the NFL does have worse calls, and they both have just as bad calls. The referee's officiating has been bad, but I think in the clutch time, in the clutch moments, the NFL does lead with worse calls, and I think it is more of an issue. So I do agree with Matthew there.
All right, Gabriel, you have disagreed with them both on the two topics we have talked about so far. So how do you feel about this situation?
I feel like at the end of the day, it is very close with the NFL and the NBA. I will say though, with the NFL, the thing is, so much happens on one play due to so many players that it can be very hard to make that call. And yes, at times the players can do something and they might not call it, but for what they've done, they're pretty efficient. While in the NBA, there's a lot of times where they don't give the punishment to the players that do mess something up. And yeah, I just got to say that.
All righty, that was our podcast for today. Thank you very much for watching.